Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of CP4SA, your one-stop channel for all things career. Today we'll be talking, all things delicious with a very talented chef, but at the same time we'll be talking about debt-free living. Is that a thing? Is that a myth? We'll answer all of that today. Lihle,
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
thank you for
Excited to be on the
agreeing.
show.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really good to see you actually. It's
Yeah.
been many years.
I know.
Yeah, so I've spent the last few weeks just quickly doing a bit of research, and I think it goes without saying that you've been doing some wonderful work over the last
Thank you.
few years.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I think, do you want to take a second maybe just to let everyone at home know who is Lihle?
Okay. Cool. So I'm Lihle Madijane, maiden Dlamini, from KZN. Now living in Joburg, and my background is sort of corporate comms. In terms of my degree, but I sort of just wandered off and went into the culinary space. So I'm not a qualified chef, but I am a brilliant cook. And so I decided to just follow my passions after being in corporate for a little bit within the pharmaceutical industry for about 5 years. And then with that, in fact, before that, got married for about 4 years now, and I have a son. His name is Onalina, and I'm married to Shalom. And we are living debt-free, so it is possible. We've been debt-free for about just under 2 years now, and definitely looking to make it a lifetime thing. So even in business, pursuing business debt-free as well. So that's sort of Lihle in a nutshell. And a believer, yes.
Yeah. Well, I suppose what's wonderful is, when we're speaking about debt-free, it's not necessarily letting go of everything, because we're sitting now in your wonderful home, and driving in, you do pass one or two vehicles, so it's not necessarily to say, stop living and therefore don't spend money. It's about having all of that, but finding a way to... so do you maybe want to tell us what was the journey to get to that?
Okay. So my husband and I met in church, and they'd sort of spoken about, living debt free, just being able to do things that you need to do without, having the noose of debt, tightly around your neck. So it's something that, just sort of interested us initially. I did pursue it by myself initially before we got married. And then when we came together, we realized that we both actually had quite a bit of debt. Wasn't a lot. I think it was quite the normal amount of debt that most South Africans live in. The normal car debt, few clothing accounts here and there, some loans, some overdrafts, But I think it's something that just really sparked something in us, and we thought, let's pursue it. And we read a few books on debt-free living, and we thought, let's give it a shot. And so we started getting rid of debt bit by bit until, now we're still left with the house to pay off. But we've managed to pay off, everything else, including the cars as well. So essentially it's just a matter of just living within your means, spending less than you make, delaying the gratification. You want the new phone now, but you gotta save for it. You don't get it on contract. You want new clothes now, but but I think more than just delaying gratification, it's about financial peace, which is something that really resonated with us. Because you save a lot, whether it's just for emergency funds or things that you actually want, but it's just also about creating comfort and cushioning in case anything happens.
Well, it sounds to me like you guys are well on the path to being, I guess, that generation where the kids get from instead of support.
That's the hope, because I think it's a norm to have black tax.
I
think most of us, you can't brag about helping out at home, everybody does that. You know, so we were trying to also just break that, because I think it takes so much longer for you to establish yourself.
Yeah.
If you have to, you know, help at home and try to establish yourself. So it's definitely something that was on the cards for us, that we don't want our kids to. In fact, I don't even think our parents wanted us to inherit black tax.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was purely circumstance. So yeah, when we found out that we could do it a different way, we thought, why not? So that the kids can also benefit. And preferably, you know, if they benefit, then they should allow their kids to benefit as well. And it should be an ongoing cycle, hopefully.
Yeah, it's funny because you're reminding me of a conversation that I had so recently, and essentially what came out of there was to say we've become so used to having to help out, you know, at home, that when we see people that don't help out, you almost want to mock them. So it's like if somebody gets a car from their parents, the first thing is how you didn't even buy it yourself.
Exactly.
And I think that's where we are, is we're not actually used to being able to see, you know, people whose parents are in a position to help them. And that's quite sad.
It is very sad. Because I think, like I said before, our parents would have loved to, you know, I think they did the best that they could with what they had.
Yeah.
But I think they've afforded us so much more, especially in terms of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, we can do better, you know, and part of doing better is just restricting yourself a little bit and say, okay, maybe let's not upgrade our car every 2 years, you know, or let's live in a slightly smaller house so that we can pay it off quicker, or, you know, just those minor adjustments, so that you can have a bit of cushioning.
Yeah, I just need to stop my impulse buying.
It's a difficult one though. It's so difficult. We're still struggling with it. I mean, my husband he's a lover of tech.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, tech there's something new every day.
Changing, yeah.
So he wants to buy all the time, but I think, you know, it's just changing habits. You can't completely stop buying and doing stuff. We all like nice things, but it's just about having a bit of control and not letting the money control you.
No, that's wonderful, man. I honestly think this is something that we should all be striving for. You know, it will obviously take some people a few more years than others, because, you know, we don't all start with the same what do you call, mole heap. But I think with time, it's definitely
it also took us quite a while. I mean, we didn't just like decide and then we're debt free.
We don't know if this was triggered by the lotto or something.
I wish. Oh my god. No, definitely not. It took us almost, I think, 2 years or so just to get rid of the initial debt. And then, of course, there's also that transitional, you know, phase where you're now trying to live without the debt. And it just feels like you're not moving or anything, because you're still saving for everything that you're trying to do. So it takes quite a while, but it's definitely worth the try.
Yeah. So I guess one question, the practicality of it, because I think there are certain things. So if you consider things like renting a car when you're traveling, they might ask that, you know, you have like a credit card and so on. So how do you guys work around those things that maybe need a bit of debt? Same thing with, I mean, let's be honest, the business world or the world in general requires like a credit check. So you need to have, like, you know, for you to have bad or good credit, you need to be somewhere within there.
The credit space.
So how do you guys work around that requirement?
So I think luckily for us, we started with debt. You know, it would be different if we've never had, you know, because then we might not have been able to buy a house and all of that. So we already had, but things like, you know, hiring a car, we can still do that. You just need, I think, what is it, a master, I don't know, one of those cards, which we have. So luckily we don't have to, but we realize with a lot of things you can also just negotiate quite a bit. You know, cash does allow you to negotiate a lot of things. Like even with cars, I mean, if you go into a dealership and they say a car is 150,000 and you have cash, you can probably get it at 115. You know, so it does, there are some restrictions. I know there's definitely restrictions. Like in the States, they don't have the restriction that we have in terms of getting a bond. So you can sort of prove that you can afford it without having credit. Here you have to, you know. So obviously then you might want to do something really small, like get like a really, really small like credit card or something, you know, just for that. But you also need the discipline for it, because I think often most people start with a little credit card or a little loan, and then they offer you more and more and more, and then it's a hole, then you're stuck, you know. So whatever it is, I think it does require a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know those SMSs. They come out like you've won something.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you qualify for 250,000 rand loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man, but I think, that's just one facet, of you as an individual. I think the other one that I'm really excited to get into is MySweetPotato.
Yes.
And I mean, I will obviously have linked your page here. Piece of advice is, of course, don't go to the page if you haven't eaten. You will not enjoy.
Yeah, you'll struggle.
Yeah, but I mean, your food looks amazing.
Thank
it
you
looks
so
amazing.
much.
How did you start that? Where did it come from?
So I think when I really think about it, it probably comes from back home, but I didn't cook much at home because we had like a live-in helper who cooked and everything. But the dinner table was always like an event at home, with my gran and my mom when we were growing up. It was always an event, whether cooking or actually dining, it was always a thing. So I think that's sort of where my eye for at least serving and doing things a particular way started, or came from. But then when I went to varsity, then I had to, start cooking, and student budget.
Yeah.
You have to be really creative.
Yeah.
And I think that's why often I always say I'm not a chef, because I know the chefs will come at me. I'm not a qualified chef, but I am a food creative, and you can give me the weirdest combination of ingredients and I can guarantee that you'll enjoy whatever I make from it, So I think more than it being, something that I went to school for, or something that I studied or, researched, it's more the passion for me. It was definitely the passion, which I didn't take into account until I'd moved out of home and started, making my own meals and, making them on a budget, trying to be healthy, trying all these different things.
Yeah.
And then I met my husband also, who loves food. So I would just play around in the kitchen quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even before we were dating, I would play around in the kitchen, and he'd say, I would pay good money for this, And I thought to myself, no, he's just
trying to get married.
Yeah, just because he wants to marry me, So then I actually put it to the test, and then I would sell it to a few people, and people would love it. The feedback was good. So then after that, he said to me, just register a business, just do it on the side, try it out and see. And I did try it out, and we would do it just over the weekends. We'd do markets, social markets, your market on Main and Maboneng, and different markets actually around Joburg. And and then I think after that, then the business bug caught me after the food bug. Then I thought to myself, I have to leave. But I think accompanied with the debt-free living, then it actually allowed for me to move from corporate into the business space, because we know, business is not going to just pay my salary from the get-go.
Yeah.
So at least that facilitated that move. So I ran for it. When the opportunity came. Well, it didn't even come. When we created the opportunity, then I ran for it, and not looking back since. I think I've been full-time now almost 2 years, but we registered the business in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, that's wonderful. I think there's a lot of people, who have a skill, but not many people know how to translate that into making a living off of that skill. So
That's
I think,
true.
Commending your efforts in that respect.
That's very true. And I think corporate definitely played a huge role in sort of how I see business and run the business. And of course, the debt-free living also, impacts on how I run the business as well, because I don't have a business background. So a lot of the things are, informed by, what I know personally and what I've experienced within corporate. So luckily I did work for a huge corporate that, had very proper processes and strategies in place that I learned a lot. And even now I'm still I got this from where I worked before. So it actually helped a lot, and that probably had I left either high school or straight out of varsity and went into business, I might have run it like a tuck shop. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the tuck shop.
Yeah.
But, you know, the vision isn't tuck shop. The
Yeah.
vision is to compete on, you know, global
Scale.
Yeah. So, and there's specific things that need to be done. Things need to be done in you know, the right way if you want to be competing with the best. So
Yeah.
I think corporate for me really helped a lot. And I wouldn't have actually gotten into corporate if I hadn't gone to school.
Yeah.
If I hadn't gone the varsity route first. So I don't think there's actually anything that's like a delay. You know, it's all part of the process.
Yeah, I love that because I think
Yeah.
the perception of 9 to 5 workers is, you know, people in business always have this thing of you know, you're not making your own money, you're making money for somebody
someone else.
And I don't think people get the immense value of you know, just learning how some of these big companies operate. You know, the day that your company is maybe that size, you know, you've already understood what were the different levers that existed within that company to make it work. So I think it's really good that you've not only seen that value, but you've taken it and utilized it to get yourself to where you are.
And I think it also it helps in that I've worked for someone before. I've worked for multiple people, so people will also like remain central to my business because I know what it's like to be valued as an employee. I know what it's like to be undervalued as an employee. I know things that cause frustration, you know, for employees and things like, so I know how to look out for those things and make sure that, okay, cool, you know, we don't put people in a trap where they feel like I'm not moving forward, I'm not, you know, my skills aren't, you know, getting sharpened, I'm not developing, I'm just not growing as a person, and I'm not getting paid. You know, those are frustrations that I felt in some of the spaces that I worked in corporate. So then obviously you can use that and then see how can I actually better, you know, not just do the product and process thing, but do the people thing as well. Within the business. So I would not even regret the corporate route at all.
No, that's good. I think to simplify your process a little bit, because I almost want it to be copy pastable. So I'm sitting at home, not me, but just an example. I'm sitting at home. I'm a really good cook. I cook for my family, and I'm getting, you know, similar to what you were getting, comments around how great my food is and that other people would be happy to have it. What did you tell a person like that in terms of, you know, what are the next steps if I want to, you know, do something about this? I don't want to just cook for my family. I see myself actually serving, you know, a broader group of people. What approach should I be thinking about taking?
I think there's a number of routes that you can take. One of them being social media, and I'll always just be so grateful for social media because I saw what it did for my business. Because, you know, back in the day, people would have to, you know, print flyers. In fact, when I was in corporate, I thought I need to go print flyers, and I've never printed a single flyer since I've been in business, because you can actually create a business profile on like Facebook or Instagram. Let me not say Twitter. Facebook or Instagram. You know, you can create something, and it was even before I started the business that I started posting. And at the time, I didn't realize that I was creating a business profile, but I was just, you know, enjoying my hobby, and I was doing it with excellence. You know. And I would look at what other people within the industry do as well, whether it's here or abroad. Because remember, with Instagram, you can follow people in Australia, you can follow people in America, wherever. And those are trendsetters, you know, especially in terms of food. So you look at some of the things that they do, and you look at how you can implement it within a South African context. You know, you research. Like, social media, I think, has allowed us to do so much in that you can take a hobby and turn it into, you know,
something.
A business. You know, so that's just partially how I started, I think, and also being willing to do things for free. You know, not everybody's gonna just want to pay off the bat. You know, you can always offer some of your things for free, for people to review, for people to taste and to post and to share. You know, in fact, our very, very beginnings was within the NGO space, where, because I think for me it was a lack of confidence thing, I needed the affirmation that I can actually cook. and I thought to myself, okay, cool, who's willing to eat my food? Without necessarily buying it. Luckily, we were involved with a number of NGOs, and I always offered to cook. So I would cook, and they would enjoy it. I'd be like, "Oh, you guys really like it?" And yes, they did. And then from there, I'd say, "Okay, cool, maybe I can sell it." You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it's not even about getting it out there, but it's about believing that you can first, and you'll have people within your family. Your family will likely say you can do it. Sometimes, so it's good to get, outsiders' perspective, and for them to say also, you actually really can. I would buy this.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I went. We started within the church spaces, the NGO spaces, and people were enjoying it, and I thought, okay, cool, let me take it a step further. Let me sell it to someone, and then everything that I did, I'd make sure that I'm taking photos and posting, photos and posting. And then, of course, it gets better and it gets easier. And then a couple of years later, you're employing people, So I think it's just doing everything with excellence. I've not taken leave since I started, which is due. But I think it was also just that thing of pushing myself to see, can this actually be done? Or can I do it, So it was just pushing myself, being consistent. I actually told a friend of mine the other day that even on days when people wouldn't order, because we put out a menu, people wouldn't order, I'd still make exactly what's on the menu and take a picture of it. And someone would see it and say, "Oh, why didn't I order?" And they'd order for next week.
Yeah.
So just because there isn't an order doesn't mean I have to sit there and be like, feeling sorry for myself and, oh, nobody ordered. I'd still wake up, and because that's my job.
Yeah.
I'd wake up, I'd do the work, I'd post it, I'd share it with people. I'd even give some of the food away. And best believe it was a seed, and it would come back as somebody either buying for their family or for an event or something like that.
Yeah. So do you agree with the perception that entrepreneurs probably work a lot more because it's your company, it's your baby? Yeah.
Definitely. I thought I worked a lot before, but now, oh my goodness, it's difficult. And I think also with the whole notion of working from home, there's no rest. You're constantly online, and I mean, we're essentially an online business, coupled with the catering, but we're an online business. So if there's an inquiry at 9:30, you're likely to answer, because you're a small business. You can't afford for somebody to go elsewhere, so you have to answer now, and give them the quote now and attend to them now. So it does. It's very taxing. It's a lot of work and long hours. Yeah. But I think also the space that we're in, within the catering space, it's a lot of long hours. I mean, we can work easily 12 to 15 hours.
Sure.
If it's an event, like if we're catering for a wedding.
Yeah.
You're going to be on your feet for a long time. And then there's still the admin. And, so yeah, definitely working way more than I've ever worked in my life.
Yeah. Well, I guess without revealing too much of your hand, what's the end goal? What's the vision where you see yourself? I'm sure you don't want to be the one cooking forever.
No.
Yeah.
As much as I love the cooking, I definitely don't want to be standing within the pots until I'm old and grey.
Yeah.
So the vision. So we also like, let's say gardening for now, because but the end goal is to go into farming. So I see a lot of trucks, just a lot of trucks branded MySweetPotato, moving food back and forth, whether it's fresh produce or already prepared meals. That's one of the things that I see that I know for a fact is going to be massive. And employing people, I didn't realize initially that I wanted to employ people. I just thought it was just about me, my passion, my goals and all of that. But having employed people, I just want to employ more. I want to create a lot of jobs within the space, and I realize like a lot of people within the food space are actually very passionate about it, even if they're not coming from the culinary background. You know, they're not chefs or qualified for it, but there's a lot of passion. And I've said before, like, I'd rather hire somebody who's got the passion than someone who's got the qualification.
Yeah.
You know, because passion will take you, I think, further than a qualification will.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Depending on the space that you're in.
Yes.
You know?
We don't want passionate doctors with no degrees.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. At least know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Also, you know. So I definitely see us going on a global scale, and I think within what we've been able to do in Joburg, especially with meal prep, just seeing that people are very business and corporate. People are busy, not even about work. People are busy, but people also want to lead healthy lifestyles. You know, whether they're vegetarian or vegan, or they, you know, subscribe to a low carb diet, whatever it is, but there's just so much fast food around that you find it very difficult to actually, you know, have veggies and whatever, anything that requires more than 10 minutes preparation. So that's sort of the market that we're also looking to assist. You know, people who want home cooked meals, you know, people who want to have tripe on a Tuesday after work.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to wait until there's a mugiti somewhere.
Or Mokhodu Mondays. Should
Exactly.
be anytime. Yeah.
It should be anytime. You should be able to access the kind of food that you want, healthy, good quality food, and that's really what I'm looking to, or the people I'm looking to service. People who want to have the convenience of good and really nutritious and yummy food at any time that they want, you know. So obviously now, because we're still on a smaller scale, we have to work according to orders and according to specific areas. But, you know, speaking to the vision, we want to be able to service people on a grand scale where if you want tripe on a Tuesday, you walk in and get tripe on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or you're able to just get it, you know, however you want, you know. So that's partially it. And then, of course, the events catering. We love events catering. That's also part of the vision, to just do just luxurious events for people, just, you know, where food becomes the main part of the event. And I mean, food is a really special part of
anything.
Yeah. Of life.
Yeah.
You know, so we really want to make a mark in that space as well. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much the vision.
Yeah, man, I think with the way we've discussed it, it makes complete sense, right? You almost gave yourself the freedom to dare to dream by making sure that financially you were in a good spot and could take a risk, do something that you're passionate about. I think the last facet that we'll speak on is something that you just said, basically, that when it comes to what you study, I think basically, because we chatted a bit, before the cameras came on, we shouldn't all just be stuck in the idea that, we need a degree to be able to make something out of ourselves. Because I think as much as corporate assisted, your vision, the skill was there, or the passion for it was there. And I think it's encouraging to see that somebody has gone and said, what am I good at and how do I make something of it? Because there's too many South Africans, I think, who find themselves in a position where they're looking to be saved by a job, whereas they might actually have the skills already on them. So I think thank you so much for being a good example.
Thank you.
I obviously cannot ask all the questions in the world. Is there any particular topic or comment that you think I didn't ask about that you just want to put out there?
I think it's just not being afraid to do things, because I also don't want to box myself as just just a passionate cook or the debt-free girl. There's so much more that I want to do that I didn't go to school for. There's so much more, what do we call it, talents, things that I hadn't thought of before. And I think that's something that people need to really just give themselves, a chance to do, is to explore. We're multifaceted. We're not just the doctor or the cook. There's so much more that you can do. And that's literally what I want to do with my life as well. I don't want to, so for me, when I look at it, the cooking was just, I think that was just to give me the confidence that I can actually do the things that I set my mind to, and living debt free is just another one of those we can actually do this thing, you know. And so if tomorrow I release a book, or I start singing next year, or I become an actress, people mustn't look at me and be like, isn't she the cook girl?
Yeah.
That's not who I am. I'm Lise and I'm multifaceted. And I think that's the reality for most people, and that you shouldn't just be boxing yourself into one thing. If there's something that you desire to do it and fail, you know, but fail forward. But don't just sit there and be like, oh, you know, don't have the skill for it. I'm not intimidated by chefs. You know, I'll cook and there can be a chef next to me and let's cook together, you know. But if it's something that you love, it's something that you have an interest in, do it, and don't be afraid to do it. You only have one life. And you said our lives are very short.
Yes.
The grander scheme of things.
In the grander scheme of things.
So why not? Why not put yourself out there? You've honestly got nothing to lose. So I think that's one of the things I would say. So if I'm back here maybe at another time and we're talking about something else, you know, a completely different industry or endeavor that I've, you know, decided to take a leap on, then that's exactly what I'm saying.
Nobody should be surprised.
No, they shouldn't. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
No, man. And I think with that, I hope everyone goes out and pursues their dreams, much like Lisha has done. Thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
And for people at home, thank you for watching.
Thank you.